This is the story of a man who believed he had discovered the energy of life, not a metaphor, not a philosophical concept, but a real, tangible energy that flows through the universe, the body, and nature. An energy that could heal diseases. This energy is called orgone, and the scientist who discovered it is known today as Wilhelm Reich. But Wilhelm was not just any scientist. He was a rebel, a disciple of Freud, a heretical psychoanalyst, a scholar who chose to follow the truth even when that truth would lead him to isolation, persecution, and destruction. Today, his writings are very hard to find, his instruments confiscated, his books burned. But why all this? What sparked such hatred against him? What had Wilhelm Reich discovered that was so important and revolutionary? And why did someone want to keep us from knowing it? Throughout this documentary, we will answer these and other questions. But first, remember to subscribe to the channel and make sure to stay until the end to uncover all the answers.
It is April 3rd, 1952. I, Wilhelm Reich, am sitting alone in the large room in the lower house. All people are gone. I hope that someone will, at some time in the future, listen to this recording with great respect for the courage that was necessary to sustain the research work in orgone energy and life energy all through these years. I don't feel that I am obligated to solve this riddle or to do anything about it. I happen to discover the life energy. I happen to induce the orgone experiment. I know what it means for the future development of medicine, biology, philosophy, and natural science. I'm fully aware of it, and in this awareness, I am completely alone. This is all.
Wilhelm Reich, firstborn of Leon Reich and Cecile Ronninger, was born on March 24, 1897, in Dobrzhinica, a village in what is now eastern Romania. He grew up in a strict and isolated environment, where at just 12 years old, he witnessed his mother's suicide, followed shortly after by his father's, consumed by despair over the loss of his wife. That shattered childhood became the root of his obsession, to understand human suffering and find out if it was possible to free people from it. Reich himself wrote, in one of his early letters, "I never knew childhood. My education was tragedy, but perhaps because of this, I know what it means to seek freedom." After fighting in World War I on the Italian front, through mud, trenches, and blood, he returned changed, shaken by the brutality of war. That experience confirmed his intuition that social violence is not just political, but deeply psychological. In 1918, he enrolled in the Faculty of Medicine in Vienna. It was there that he met Sigmund Freud, joining the master's inner circle of students. And in a short time, Reich stood out. Not as a mere student, but as a reformer. While Freud, so to speak, dug through dreams to understand an individual's past, Reich sought to untie the knots that imprisoned the human being in the present. He didn't just want to understand people's traumas, he wanted to treat them. He wanted to heal humanity, to set it free. In the 1920s, Reich began to develop one of his most important theories, the function of the orgasm. According to him, mental and physical health depended on the individual's ability to reach a complete orgasm, not a mere mechanical act, but a deep cathartic experience of vital release. His idea was that sexual energy, libido, was not just an impulse, but a real biological current, a measurable electromagnetic flow running through the body. When this energy is blocked, compressed, or repressed by social norms, trauma, or learned inhibitions, neuroses, depression, and psychosomatic symptoms emerge. Thus was born one of his most fundamental concepts, character armor, a set of chronic muscular tensions, true bodily contractions that form an invisible but very real armor. Every trauma leaves a mark on the body, in the shortened breath, the raised shoulders, the clenched jaw, the vacant gaze. He would write, "The body is the visible biography of the individual. Every fear, every prohibition, every unexpressed repression is written there." Reich was among the first to propose an integrated view of the human being. Body and psyche are not separable entities. Long before modern body psychotherapies spoke of somatization, embodied trauma, or cellular memory, Reich was already theorizing and practicing an approach that united breathing, movement, emotion, and speech. In the 1930s, forced into exile by the Nazi regime due to his Marxist sympathies and radical ideas, Wilhelm Reich began to theorize the existence of a primordial cosmic energy, orgone, an invisible force that animated all living things, the air, water, animals, galaxies. He defined it as a sort of scientific prana, a bioenergy observable in natural processes such as photosynthesis, the luminescence of microorganisms, the formation of clouds, even in the blue glow of biochemical reactions in the blood. I have seen orgone in the eyes of children, in the fields after rain, in living skin that vibrates. It is not mysticism, it is biological reality. Reich believed that orgone was the key to life and health. When it flowed freely, the human being was vital, creative, and balanced. When it became blocked, disease, repression, and suffering would emerge. According to him, this energy permeates every living being, and its quality depends on the individual's emotional and relational state. To study it, he built instruments that defied all academic logic and epistemological convention. These were not mere theories, but practical devices designed to interact with orgone energy in the body and the environment. The first was the orgone accumulator, a cabin made of alternating layers of organic and metallic materials. According to Reich, these layers could attract and concentrate the orgone energy present in the atmosphere. People would sit inside to recharge. Some patients claimed to feel invigorated, clearer, and less anxious. Reich even documented cases of tumor remission, claiming that orgone could slow the growth of cancer by stimulating the immune system and promoting a deep energetic regulation of the body. "I do not treat the symptom, I treat the energy block. And when the block falls, life flows back." Reich, Clinical Diary, 1947. The second was the Cloudbuster, perhaps the most controversial and visionary device. Built with metal tubes connected to cables immersed in water, Reich used it to interact with atmospheric orgone, claiming he could induce rain or dissolve clouds. The mechanism was based on the idea that water, energetically polarized, could act as a conductor to discharge excess atmospheric energy. On one occasion, Reich claimed to have made it rain in the Arizona desert, ending a drought that had lasted for weeks. This event drew the attention of the media and inevitably of US intelligence services, alarmed by the idea that a private individual might be able to manipulate the weather. These ideas are found in his most debated texts, which today stand as true manifestos of an alternative science. The Function of the Orgasm, 1942, where he links sexuality to the release of vital energy, reformulating Freud's libido as a measurable and functional biological force. The Cancer Biopathy, 1948, in which he proposes that tumors are the result of chronic energy blockages and that treating the disease requires removing these interruptions in the vital flow. Ether, God and Devil, 1949. A philosophical and experimental work that explores the connections between energy, the cosmos, spirituality, and biology, using bold language that borders on science, mysticism, and anthropological revolution. But the academic world was extremely hostile toward him. No scientific journal wanted to publish his work, and that perhaps was no coincidence. His colleagues considered him a charlatan, an eccentric, a dangerous enemy of modern rationality. His insistence on sexual freedom, bodily autonomy, and the psychosocial origin of illness made him a target for governments, medical orders, religious authorities, and cultural institutions alike. In 1954, the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, in an unprecedented operation, declared open war on his theories and instruments. Reich was accused of medical fraud and sentenced by a federal court. Every copy of his books, pamphlets, and even private notes was ordered to be destroyed. The accumulators were seized. His publications were publicly burned in an act reminiscent of medieval book burnings. He was imprisoned in 1956 at the Lewisburg Penitentiary in Pennsylvania. He died in prison on November 3, 1957, just days before his scheduled release, of a heart attack according to the supposedly official records. If what I say isn't true, no one will bother to destroy me. But if it is true, then the world is not ready. Wilhelm Reich, letter from prison. His fall was as spectacular as his thinking had been revolutionary, but perhaps hidden in that brutal erasure lay the proof that he had touched something real, something that power could neither explain nor tolerate. But what was really behind this exemplary condemnation? To some, he was merely a mad scientist, a man consumed by his own obsessions, an eccentric who had crossed the line between research and delusion. To others, he was a visionary who had struck a raw nerve in modern science, the hypothesis that a real vital energy existed, one capable of giving human beings back power over their own bodies, their own well-being, their own inner freedom. A force that could not be patented, standardized, or above all, monetized. Whoever controls sexuality controls man, and whoever frees the body frees the mind. And what if all this were true? What if his dream was not pure madness, but an insight too vast for his time? A time that perhaps is only just beginning to catch up. Perhaps Wilhelm Reich's real crime was not theorizing the impossible, but believing in it to the very end.